Ho ho, viewers! Today we're going to continue to work on our League of Legends plugin. Last time we did a summoner drop-down, and this time we're going to do a web service that we can use to retrieve match history of the selected summoner. So the goal is to use the picker or the drop-down to select a summoner, fire off a web service shot, retrieve the match history of the selected summoner, and present it in a neat table. And we're going to need to use multiple endpoints of the League of Legends API to achieve this. And let's start. So I think we're going to start with creating the web service itself. Okay, can do that. And we're gonna do like last time, we just replace in this file. So the name of the web service will be web service LOL, and that's fine because this will be a general file name for all our web service functions. Okay, that looks good. Just close that because I want to open it in the ISE. Okay, and we can copy this if we want, but yeah, we'll do that. And we'll call the function get match history by summoner. I'm gonna copy a param block that I made, and I think it's very useful to standardize your param blocks. Zervicepoint gives you these two hidden parameter sets. One is config, like we talked about last time, includes the provider XML config values. Parameters is a hash table that contains all the parameters that you send to the web service. Here we have a default value for the region parameter, and I'm going to say that we need to have the account ID because that's the value from the drop-down. So we can use the value from the drop-down, send it into this web service, and hopefully we should get the match history. So let's check on the API again. First off, we will need to go in and regenerate our security key. It expired. Copy. And then we need to put that into our provider XMLs. Provisioning system. And this is only the paths for me again. You will have a different path, and check the documentation if you're not sure where to find it. Inventory, and also you only need to update one file for this for the client web service part, but I need to update two files. Okay, so that's good. Back to checking the API. Okay, so we have the account ID and we want to retrieve matches. So we go to the match endpoint here. And just by looking at the parameters here, I think this one is it. Get match list for games played on given account ID and platform ID and filtered using given filter parameters, if any. Excuse me. Let's test. So to test this web service, I actually need, or to test this API call, I actually need an account ID. And we can do that by doing it directly here. And we can go on account ID here. Let's go to match and see what we get. Okay, we get a bunch of matches in a JSON file. We got the lane, a game ID, champion ID, platform ID, a timestamp, queue, role, and season. Okay, so I can see immediately that I want some more information here. I want to see if the player won or lost. I perhaps want to see their statistics, like their kills and deaths. I also want to resolve this champion number to see which champion they played. So that will probably have to get that from other endpoints. But this is a good start. Let's check on the URL. I'm just going to copy that. I'm just going to go matches equal to invoke rest method. Get URI. We can open our old just to see how we did with the header. Login. Okay. Like that. Okay, we don't have a config file yet. So again, I use PowerFrame to get the config file. Provisioning system, client web service should be fine. Oh, I need to specify path. Okay. Okay, we got some kind of response here. Matches, end index, start index, total games. 130, okay. Matches. And can we do like this? Yeah, we can. So it seems it's an array. Yeah. Okay, so that's nice. We can iterate over that. We can just try to return this now, see what happens. Yep. So in PowerFrame we have a function to create HTML tables. New pf HTML table, input object matches.matches. I think that should be enough. Find summoner. see if this still works. Oops. Yep. So now we'll just modify the service to make the web service call and to present it in some way. And put a text, an RTF in there because we want to present something here in it. Yes, I will need to inventory as well. So make sure I saved. And I start my inventory system and it should inventory. So if I save here, go in here, get match, no, get lol matches. There we go. And if we go into the JavaScript and go on change, we need to provide the argument as well. Oops. Account ID. Console log data. Just going to test that. Another thing. We'll put the account ID in here. And we put region in here, and we need that code from our drop down as well. Save, and we take up the console and we refresh and we test it again. Just write dry. And we get an HTML table. And if we just run it like this, we need to put something in account ID. So summoner, just gonna copy that. And look at the result here. Okay, so that's a blob of HTML. Very much information. If I look on this, okay, so it's the first. This is an array. It's an array, and you can put the first position of the array into the RTF, and it should render HTML. So if we call this match history, and we just put our return into this, should be fine. Okay. So this is a bunch of games, and again the information here is not super useful. Like the timestamp here, we need to do something with that, and I also don't like the champion ID. But let's start with the timestamp. Like we talked about last time, this is milliseconds from Unix epoch, so we should be able to translate that to a readable date. And I already have code for that. But I think that we should, so we're going to return the matches object here, or the output of the new PF HTML table using the matches array. But if we fix the timestamp by doing this, it will look much better. So basically, we take out a new DateTime object from the Unix epoch, which is the 1st of January 1970, and then we take that timestamp and we add the milliseconds from the match data, and then we have that in our DateTime object. This should be enough actually, so let's save. Yep, that's enough. So that's good. And then we have a queue here. So that's some information that the players of this game really want to know. 420 doesn't say a lot, but I happen to find some JSON files in the documentation of the API which explains these codes, and we will be able to retrieve these codes and substitute them for a queue name. So on this URL you have the queue's JSON file and we can search on queue ID, like in our case it was 420, and we just search on that. Deprecated in favor of queue ID 420. Okay, so here's 420. So this is a 5v5 ranked solo game. I'm just going to translate that to ranked solo. And again, I prepared a little code. Okay, put that before. So we're going to look at the queue, and if it's 420, we're just going to write ranked solo instead. A quick test. Don't need to refresh, actually. Okay, so they have another queue here, 440. Okay, let's add that. Ranked flex. Okay. What was that? 440. And maybe there's some other way of doing this, but this will do for now. Maybe you could dynamically instead just get this string, but I think it's not optimal for our table. What do we want to fix now? Can look here again, just check. Ranked solo, tries, ranked flex. Good. Okay. Maybe we don't want to show the game ID. And we can do that by either just removing it from the object, or we can specify in this commandlet which headers we want. And we can, you see that champion is with a lowercase c here. If we write champion with an uppercase, it will write the header in in that way, but it will take the champion data or the data from this column. Same lane. Platform ID. I don't think that's super interesting because we already have that up here. Let's go with queue. Role. season timestamp. See, so now the headers have gotten an uppercase, and we removed some of the stuff that we don't want. And maybe we want more stuff instead, so that's a good step. There's just fun to know that you have some other stuff here as well. You can pass ability to remove row as true, and you get something that looks like this, and you can click this to remove the row. So this is useful if you want to, let's say you have a service where you import a CSV file or something and you present it in a table that you validate on the web service side, and then you want to send it back to the user so they'll be able to remove rows. And then you can, on post, parse that information and then in the workflow do something with it. So that's something we have done in the past. I don't think we want this in our service though. There's some other parameters here as well. You can put some classes on your elements. In case you want to put some CSS in there. You can put a custom column in there as well. And now I think we'll work on the champions. So this doesn't say very much. This is just champion 35 and so on. There's another resource in the API called Data Dragon. And it's a very large JSON file with all the stats for the different champions. There's also another resource that I think we'll use in this case, and it's all the champion graphics, which you can retrieve from this URL. Let's see. I think that we can retrieve all the champions in a JSON file first. Already prepared some code for that. Let's see, champs, data. Okay, so here's the name of all the champions. What kind of data structure is this? It's a PS custom object. So that's not as nice as an array, because you access the individual indexes by doing this. And it looks good here in PowerShell, but when you're going to iterate over it, you need to work in a slightly different way. Looking at Annie here. Okay, so we get the name, title, blurb. Here's actually the name of the image as well. Image, sprite group, full. Cool. Okay. So to iterate over this, I want to make an array or something that I can iterate over. Champs.data. Yep. And we can, because you can't do a for each on this. If I do for each champ in champs, and I just write out champ.image.full, it doesn't work. But if I do get member, member type node property, I get something else. I get an array of all the names. So if I instead iterate over this, see what I get in champ first. I get the name of the node property. So I can combine these two objects to iterate over the champs and get specific information about one champ. So it's a little workaround. And I prepared some code for that as well. So I'm going to use a for loop here. Because in a match, no, let's run this. No, match. So we have a champion ID in the match object. Champ array is not ready. Let's do that. No. Okay, I need to reload matches as well. Okay, so we improved the code a little bit here, and so what we do now is that we build the URL, or we build an image tag with the URL, take the champ image full name. Basically it's of championname.png, and in the title, so we put the champion name, so if you hover over the portrait you get the name of the champions. We save, we go out here, we search, and we get, yep. Okay, so it's a broken image. Okay, we have PNG twice. We go in here. We can just remove that. And yeah, so we get the champion portrait now. So now it's starting to look kind of interactive. And if we hover, yeah, we get the name of the champion as well. So that's cool. Now we're starting to get some kind of useful information, but we also want to present if the person won or lost the game. And to do that, I believe we need to get additional information, because it's not in the match object that we retrieved. Get match timeline by match ID. We're not interested in the timeline. Get match by match ID. So that should be it. Oh, we can test it. Just look at one of our matches and we have a game ID. I wonder if that's the same. Yeah, it seems to be. And we have a list of participant identities, player, we have the name of the summoner, profile icon, summoner ID, and we have a participant ID, okay. Maybe we can use that, because we already have this information basically. Here's the teams, that's good. The bands. Win-win. Okay, so we can see that the first team has won. And we can see that the second team failed to win. And then we have a participants list. And okay, so we have the participant ID here. So we probably need to link that to the other list. We have some statistics here. We have the team, okay. And stats. So we have kills in here, yep. So this requires some plumbing. And I actually tested out this yesterday as well. So we only need to copy and paste, but don't worry, I will explain. So before the loop, we need to retrieve all the match details. And I want to have an array here, so I'm going to iterate through I'm going to iterate through matches here again. I guess we could do it like this to skip this step actually. We can skip a loop by doing this. Whoops, yep. And I think that our query is starting to become a little bit slow, so I'm gonna add I'm going to add this in here. Which will which will limit the amount of searches we do. So we just take the 10 first games. Maybe we'll do it this way just to make sure it works. So we take out all the match details before, and well, I think we need to get the correct participant ID first. Perhaps there's a different way of doing this, but this is what I came up with. If you have a smarter way, you can write it in a comment, or you can participate in the GitHub project I'm posting on this. So I'm adding tons of code here. So first I'm getting the correct participant ID. And I'm doing that by combining the account ID that you sent in with the participants of the match details, the participant identities. And then I'm looking through all the participants, not in the participants identity object, but in the participants array. And then I'm finding the correct participant there. And then I'm building a stat string with the kills, deaths, and assists. So, and then I'm adding a member of type node property to the match object. So we need to add this as well to our table. And then I'm figuring out if we won or lost, or if the player won or lost. And I'm doing that by looking on the teams in the match details. And the correct team. Did we figure out that? Yeah, we figured out that in the previous loop. And I want to make it nice and green if the player won, and red if the player lost. And we're putting this in the win status, and we're adding win status with the w/l property. Let's put that in. No, not like that. I'll put that in here. and save. And okay, we don't get anything here. So this function will fill out this table cells with a dash if there's no data in the object on that. So let's look, run it through. Yeah, for this to work, I actually added an iterator called A. And by the end of the loop, we need to add to that. Let's see if this works. Oh, I think I've been throttled, so we need to wait a little bit. This is where Johan goes in and cuts. We need to define the header. That in headers, header, saving, testing again. And that's it. So we get the win-loss. This guy lost quite a lot. We have the KGA as well. And I think that will do for now. So this is as far as I wanted to take this web service. We can go even further. We can take out data upon that you can click one row and get all the participants in the match and show all their stats. And but this will do for now. And I will put this in a GitHub project, which I already started actually. So here it is. It's open, so you can just go in and download and participate. And I will put this web service in there as well. At the time of this recording, it's only the drop down that we created in the previous video in here. So ho ho, and see you next time.